Hello, this is Charlie at My Messy Fingers. We are playing with a new collection from Stamperia. It is called Golden Harmony. It's out of their romantic collection set. And it's just got a lot of warm autumn feel to it. It has a great tendency to lend itself to either a travel collection or a family collection. So I'm kind of playing with a little bit of both. I am playing with 12 by 12s and 8 by 8s. And I've got 3 of the 12 by 12 collection, and I've got 3 of the 8 by 8 collection. In this, there are a plethora of cutouts, cut-aparts, tags, big squares. So I'm going to be playing, and even some of these here. So I'm going to be playing with quite a bit to incorporate into this. Most of the 12 by 12s will be used as our base. And then I'm playing with 12 by 12s and 8 by 8s for the flaps. So on this first one, this is a 12 by 12. And so you'll find, it's easy to find, it's the one with the suitcase. I trimmed the suitcase out. I have matted it onto the green cardstock I'm using, and I'm taping it here across the bottom so that when it goes back in place, this becomes a tuck. You'll still have, I've got a tag that I'm putting up here, Follow Your Dreams. You're still going to have a spot here for a fixed photo, or you can do some hand journaling. This piece here measures 8 inches across, and it is 8 3/4 in the height. Now, this album I'm using, I already had it pre-made for another project and didn't use it, so I saw it and didn't want it to sit and go to waste. So I'm going to be doing some different things. You've probably seen other designers do it, but I'm doing something different than my normal course of action in order to accommodate for that 8 3/4 height. What I would like to do first off is get the panels measured out, get them inserted into the page. I'm trying to find what I'm trying to dig something out of here. Okay, here we go. All right, so the main flap, and I'm using a small corner round. I wanted to use something different, but the small strips that I'm cutting just didn't accommodate. So I'm just going to use a small corner round. This is going to measure at 8. It's that little tick between 8 1/2 and 8 5/8. So if you go to 8 5/8, you'll have just a little bit of extra room here on your sides, and then you'll need to cut your pieces a little bit longer here on the top to bottom. So what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 16ths. 5 and 8 16ths, if I'm counting that right. And obviously it is by the 8 3/4 because it's matching the height in the base piece. Now this is going to be a pocket page, so it needs to measure 1 inch longer than this piece. So this is going to be sitting here at 7 3/4. You're going to do a 1/2 inch on each end, and if you're rounding your corners, then you're going to want to round this so that it matches. Now I folded them under so that this can lay on top so that it hides all this seam work. So I'm going to go ahead and get this piece pulled off because that's going to help tack these down. I forgot to burnish this. Okay, and then I'm going to pull just one off for the moment because I want to get this matched up here in this upper corner, and then I can match, let go, sticking to my fingers. Oh, for Pete's sake. That corner. That corner. Lay it down, lay this down, seal that seam. Okay, we are all good to go. Now, so that I'm not burning through my green cardstock, I decided that when I make pockets, I'm going to use that harvest color that's on the front of the album so that it kind of gives a different color configuration when you're looking at this. So this is the slip for the pocket. In your cut aparts on the 8x8s, there are these tags. Let's see if I can find where I cut them out because I left one attached. Ooh. I don't see. Oh, here it is. I left two attached. So on your 8x8, you have these 3 tags. So there's essentially 2 golds and a green. So I used 2 of the golds, the green, and then I cut another green because there's going to be 4 signatures, so there's going to be 4 pockets. And I doubt that I'm going to have enough paper to cover one side, much less 2 sides, because there's simply just not enough unless you start really buying a ton of packets, and I just don't want to do that to you. So I will wait until I get my scraps all done, all settled. I will come back and cut some scraps that will cover this. So I have this tacked down just ever so gently. So I will come back later and cut some scraps that will equal this and then get them decorated, or I might just change my mind and just leave them the way they are. So once we have this on here, we're going to put it on so that, okay, I'm trying to confuse myself. We're going to put this on here so that the paper comes right up to this 1/2 inch score mark. I am not used to putting it on this way, but I've got myself focused on something else and I can't think. Okay, so we're just gonna sit that right in there. And mine's a little tall, but I've got some room to kind of shrink it up down here. I hate doing this, but gosh darn it. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to, I want it as close to correct as it can be. And I didn't pay attention when I put this down. I was focusing on the tape strip. All right, here we go. Now I'm a little bit more oriented here. Okay, right up next to that 1/2 inch. Pull this back just a little bit here on the top. Put this down, and there we go. All right, so now we're just going to kind of leave this piece alone over here for the moment. Let's go in over here to the right, and we are going to address a couple of panels that need to go here on the right-hand side. So this panel measures at 4 3/4 inches, and you're going to score it at 1/2, and you're going to score it at 5/8. And if I failed to tell you that over here, I apologize. You have a 1/2 inch score and a 5/8 of an inch score. When you put this piece in for the pocket, you're gonna run it right up next to that 1/4 inch, excuse me, that 5/8 of an inch score line, and then this piece goes up next to the 1/2 inch score line. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this little guy over. And I'm gonna take this off. And then I'm gonna set it right there. Oh, Charlie. Wow, I'm off to a good start, aren't I? Doggone it. I apologize for expressing my frustration, but I have got myself all in a tither here because I don't know what it is I'm doing wrong this morning. So I'm going to try to, I'm used to turning them over and matching up, so I am just going to have to trust my sights here. Okay, so this flap is going to come over, this is going to come over here, but we're going to have a flap over the top of this. Let's see if I can do this one right. Now, my piece and your piece are going to get measured differently. This was an afterthought doing this, so you're going to want to cut your piece at 6 3/4 across, and then you're going to do a 1/2 inch score and then a 5/8 of an inch score. This is going to measure 6 1/8 in the height, and what you're trimming to is this side right here. So you might need to trim down this piece if the measurements I give you don't fit it or it's too big. So now this is going to come over the top of both of these, and look at this, I'm turning it over the right way. Make sure that this gusset is sitting up the way it's supposed to, because this gusset is going to wrap around it. So I'm going to want to come off that gusset line just a little bit so that I can get a good fixed wrap on this. Oh, and I want to make sure that I'm level top to bottom. Goofy, goofy girl, come on, you can do this. Pull this down just a bit. So I'm sitting here at about 1 3/8 inches, so I've got a long way to go here. Maybe I can eyeball it better this way. Okay. So then when this comes on, you've got this flat gusset, this one, and then this gusset ran flat against it. Now this is where we want to put on our magnet. I do not want to forget to do that. And here is our magnet. So we're going to set it here. Now I'm using a different type of a magnet. If you've got your basic grays, they're going to be bigger. So don't stress over the fact that I've got a little tiny magnet here. This is not a small basic gray. It's a different kind that I actually have in my stash. And because I'm out of the little ones and I'm running short on my big ones. So I'm playing with my own personal stuff. Okay, put that on there, and then we're going to take that tape off of there. And I'm going to roll the excess up on top of the magnet. And now I'm going to close it. Make sure your pieces are nice and tight, that the top and the bottom all match. Make sure you've got this folded over as far as the gusset will allow you. And then you'll slide it off and voila, it is on. Okay, now let's cover. So let's start with this piece here. It doesn't, this is out of the 12 by 12 collection, and it really doesn't matter which one you use, but I do want you to use the reverse side. So this is going to get glued down. Now I'm rounding my corners to give it kind of more of a soft visual look. And then I'm going to set this down, line it up, and burnish it. Turn it over here a bit easier because I'm not fighting the magnet on. Okay, so now this card, and again you can choose whatever card you want. There's several different sentiments in the 12 by 12 collection, so personalize it. You've got enjoy, warm wishes, inspire, together. I chose welcome. I love these flowers, and it's kind of the opening to the book. This is going to be a pocket, so this piece is going to sit just inside the framework of this piece. All right. And I'm only using 1/8 of an inch in tape so that it maximizes as much space on the pocket as we can. So this is just going to sit, like I said, inside the framework. And then this is going to get glued on top. And now you've got a nice little tuck, a little pocket right here on the front, and you've even got some room that you could do some additional journaling here. All right, so turning this over. Now, because of the limited amount of paper, and I want to make sure I've got enough to get you all the way through this, so we're going to play quite a bit in our scraps. So on this piece right here, you should have this piece from a previous cut in your scraps. And I'm going to tape this in place right here. And then also from the scraps, there is this piece here. I don't know if I can find the other half. It had kind of a, this finish stuck out about this far, but I'm not readily seeing it so that I can show you. If you'll give me just a shake here, I might. Let me see if I can't. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Okay, this piece. So it looks like this out of the scraps, but it's this piece I want. I want the embellishments set on it. So we're going to make ourselves another little pocket here because this piece is not big enough to go all the way across, but it's a big enough panel that we can put a nice little pocket in here. So to maximize space, I'm using 1/8 of an inch in the tape. All right, so that's ready, but I need to tape this one down. And I'm taping it because there is a magnet behind there, and I don't want to have to get in there and then I've ruined the piece. And to answer your question, if this is your first time building with me, yes, I have had to go in and fish out a magnet and then had to make some corrective notes on some of my videos because when I got done with it, I did not like how the magnets were centered when I put them in. So the problem is you're going to need to tape too. So if I give a correction, unfortunately, it could affect you. So I try to fix my boo-boos before the taping. I try not to have them happen while I'm videoing, so that by the time you're looking at this, I have discovered my fault, gotten it fixed, and then given you all the correct information. It's just like that one piece where this piece, in fact, where I decided I wanted to put another gusset line score so that I could wrap this over so that it wasn't jumping over. I wanted it to lay over. So you have a 1/2 inch score on your first one, and I only have 3/8. So that's a perfect example of where I made the correction so that you didn't have to deal with it when you're watching the video and making it. Okay, now this is going to get taped on, and I can just peel these off fairly easily. Now when I'm putting this on, I'm just going to come right up to this 5/8 score line. I'm going to butt this right up next to it, and then I'm going to burnish it down. And then I'm going to glue this piece down. Okay, so now we've got a nice little pocket right there. Okay, let's move on to this panel. This is where we're going to get into some trims. All right, you have a 12 by 12 sheet of paper that looks like this. You're going to be cutting 1/2 inch strips the entire length of this. So you're going to, right off the bat, you're going to cut 4 1/2 inch strips because what we're doing on this panel, we're going to do on the other one. So pull this out because you're going to be using this going throughout the build. This piece is out of the 8 by 8. So it's going to sit here. Its partner is going to go here on this page. So when you trim this, keep the other piece. This is going to come up and butt right up along that edge, and then we've got a 1/2 inch wood strip going there, and then we have a 1/2 inch wood strip here. What we're doing is we're framing this in. Okay, so all of these are 1/2 inch, and I've got to burnish that, make sure it's so. Easiest thing to do is to set these in place first, and then this will center in. Mine, and sometimes I have to get in here and do an extra little trim, but mine so far measures in right at 7.5 inches. So let's see how this works out when I get done putting the pieces down, because they're loose when I'm setting them, measuring them. And then I've got to try and match those same measurements when I was messing around with this. Now I like to be about 1/16 of an inch on my borders, on my trim, and I try to be that in between the pieces. I'm not always right on that, but I try. So this should sit about 1/16 of an inch top to bottom. I need to pull this up just a hair. There we go. Now that we have those on, this piece should just lay right in here. And you can see that we have a little bit of green framework all the way around. So I'm just going to glue this one in. Smile. Okay, I'm going to line top to bottom with this one, so at least visually they're on the same length. Okay, so now let's finish up this piece. So this is the other half. So we're going to repeat that process. Now I did have to trim this down a little bit. I think I took about 3/8 of an inch off there. So we have the 1/2 inch, we have the 1/2 inch, and we have the 1/2 inch, and then when these are closed, these almost make the 8x8 piece of paper. So once again, I am going to glue the top and bottom and side strip. And again, trying to keep in my 1/16 of an edge marker. Okay. Now this is for our inside left panel, and I think I forgot to mention that. Pull this down just a little bit. Oh, actually, it looks like I need to trim. See? I need to trim just a smidgen, because I don't have the room that I want in between these. I didn't double check that measurement. That's better. But I need to pull it over here just a little bit, straighten it out. There we go. Now I'm going to tape this piece because of my magnet and my phobia about needing to get to them. Okay, so before I commit that to the tape, I just want to measure this out just a little bit. Oh, it looks like I'm good. No. I'm going in lopsided. I just saw it down here at the bottom. I'm so glad I didn't burnish this yet. It'll come up a little bit easier, except for that piece. Oh, Now I want to make sure that I have this trimmed if I need to trim it a little bit. I do. Well, see how I am? Now this piece, I'm going to add a little ink to the top. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's try this again. That's much better. Wow. I am not straight on this piece. By no means. It very well could be the make sure this is straight. It could be this piece. A score line being off just a tad bit can really throw off so that it doesn't look square. And I'm not going to keep trimming at it. I'm just going to deal with it. I will have to be more mindful of that. Okay, so then this is going to close up like this. Let's get to the inside. So over here, I am using one of the scrap pieces, and it's got the postcards and the letter writing, and I'm just going to glue that in place over here. On this side, I am using this scrap piece. The reverse side has this, but this is the side I want to use, and I'm going to put it right where I need it to be, but you can see it's short, So we are going to put in a small little slide-in pocket here, and to match, I'm using a pattern piece that complements this piece over here. So let's go ahead and put this in, and I'm not doing anything else on this side. Now, there are quite a few quotes and sayings that if you want to add a sentiment here, you can. That allows you to personalize it. And then we're going to get this over here. We're going to line it up to the right side. We don't care where the left side lands because it's just going to get covered up under this piece. And again, these small pockets for inserting things, I'm just using 1/8 of an inch tape so you can maximize your pocket use. Run this right up that score line you see right there. And then we're going to glue this in. And then we're going to put this down and all right, so now we have a nice little pocket tuck there. Now, we're ready to put this in the album, and we're going to put it in before we add this piece, because this tape is actually going to go along here, which is the back side of the album. I do have this little quoted saying. It says, "Follow your dreams." I thought it worked well with the suitcase full of things. You know, that suitcase could be your traveling suitcase. It could be your memoirs. But I thought it would be nice to put that right there. All right, so let's close this up. Turn her over. And we're going to use 1/2 inch tape. Now, generally, I put down some tape here in the middle of it to stabilize it. But what I'm going to be doing is instead is gluing around this opening, and that will be my stabilization for when I get it in the album. I'll show you here in just a minute. Let me get this burnished. Camera's probably wiggling. I apologize. I'm working on trying to get that to not do that. Okay, so in we go. So this is going to come in here and it's going to drop in just like this. And then when you open this up, this is going to come down here like so you don't see the back side, and then this becomes your pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and get some glue put on this. And I want to be careful that I don't get glue to the inside. All right, and I'm just going to kind of take this corner, and I want to be just a little bit off the end of the book opening, and I'm going to lay this down nice and even. I want to get in here, oops, and I want to burnish this down. That looks so odd, I know. There's this big hole. But we'll get her fixed here in just a second. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to grab some tape. And now I'm going to go in here and then I'm going to burnish where the taped edge is. Give this another little... Now we will take the tape off the very bottom of this and we will set this right back where we cut it out from. And this looks like the lid is open to the suitcase, so it's kind of cool. And then you've got yourself a nice little tuck for coming in behind here. You can still put in a nice 2x3 photo if you want to commit one, or you can do some journaling here. So that completes this signature. And there you go. So I'll see you on the next build. Until then.